Let's take a minute and just disregard everything you know about Sonic Forces. Whether you liked, disliked, loved, hated, or even felt the game was just mixed. Just throw all those thoughts away. Because for the sake of this video, this is not going to be a bashing Sonic Forces video. It's not going to be a what could have Sonic Forces done better video, and it's not going to be looking at the positives of the aforementioned game. All of that stuff has its place somewhere in the seemingly endless void of Sonic videos, but not here. I actually wanted to use this video to look at the game itself in a different perspective. I just wanted to take a moment of your time to discuss how this game, for better or for worse, should have been a Shadow the Hedgehog game. This game literally should have been titled Shadow Forces. I could actually just go into the nitty gritty and just tell you why I believe it should be this way, but for the sake of clarity and to further enunciate and articulate all of my points, I want to discuss what this game was. At its heart, though it may appear bare bones, Sonic Forces is a story about a comeback, a story about redemption, courage, bravery, and perseverance. A war has begun on Sonic's world, and after Sonic losing to the hands of Eggman, Infinite, Zavok, Chaos, Shadow, and Metal Sonic, Eggman's forces resumed to conquer 99.9% of the world. Sonic has been taken into the clutches of Eggman for 6 months, and it was up to your creative character, as well as Sonic's friends, to free Sonic and save the world. Spoiler alert, as the game goes on, you find out more about Infinite's power of the Phantom Ruby to create illusions of Sonic's past rivals like Chaos, Shadow, and the rest of the lot. But the thing is, we aren't given much information on who or what Infinite is, unless you are to play Shadow's prequel story, indicated by the word prequel. These are events that take place before the main story of Sonic Forces. In this story, we find out a bit of information on Infinite. Apparently, he is the leader of the quote-unquote Jackal Squad, and seems to work directly underneath Eggman. But outside of that, we don't get any other knowledge about him as far as his origins go in this game. I mean, we don't even get to see what he looks like underneath the mask. But if we move on to the prequel comics released before Force's debut that take place before episode Shadow but after Mania, we are given a bit more insight on Infinite and the Jackal Squad mentioned in episode Shadow. According to these comics, the Jackal Squad is a group of mercenaries. In one of the first few pages of Rise of Infinite, we find out the reason Infinite as well as the Jackal Squad are near Eggman's base is because they plan to raid and steal all of Eggman's tech inside and resell it to get money. We can also assume, without the power of the Phantom Ruby, he is someone who doesn't have powers but is skillful with a sword. The last thing truly worth noting in this chapter is that he is a well-respected and trusted leader. He shows trust in his squad to handle an entire Eggman army of robots on their own, and we even see one of the Jackal members try to keep Infinite grounded from being lured by Eggman. From this alone, we can indicate that this squad has been together for quite a bit. These members seem to have each other's backs, showing their closeness. This is important because after these events, Infinite is called to lead not only the Jackal Squad, but the entire Eggman army underneath Eggman. But the Jackal Squad is kind of wiped out instantly by one character, Shadow the Hedgehog. These are the only family we know Infinite to have, and as he said earlier in the comic, he grew tired of the world as it was. We can assume from this that it was his squad that was able to keep him together. So Infinite obviously catches wind of this from Eggman, and in a fit of rage seeks to attack Shadow, the assailant. But as you know, he fails to land even one attack, as Shadow beats him in seconds, calling him worthless. Shadow even tells him to never show his quote-unquote pathetic face around him again, and then he leaves, leaving Infinite alive. Now, the Jackal Squad isn't seen in the rest of Sonic Forces, so we can either assume that Shadow finished them all for good, or they just straight up disbanded. But nonetheless, Infinite still remained. Infinite's goal from the very beginning was to change the world with the help of Eggman and the Jackal Squad, and with one side down and shouldering the shame of being obliterated by Shadow in combat, he dons the power of the Phantom Ruby and masks himself. Now, the continuation of the Shadow vs. Infinite feud is followed up once again in comic form. Sonic Forces Looming Shadow, issue number 3 to be exact. Now, this is actually where Omega gets canned, as we see him in one of the earlier cutscenes in Sonic Forces. It's pretty much right where this comic ends, where we pick up in Act 3 of episode Shadow. Act 1 was a month before Eggman takes over and when Sonic gets kidnapped. Act 2 was several months before Act 1, where Infinite and Shadow first technically meet. Although during this time, Infinite did not have the power of the Phantom Ruby or the mask. It sounds a little confusing, but the order goes Act 2, 1, 3. But anyway, in issue 3 right before Act 3, Omega is rushing into what appears to be Arsenal Pyramid and battles Infinite and loses very badly. Rouge and Shadow lose connection to him, and in Act 3, they are only given very distorted messages from him without a clue of what's actually going on. The way Sonic Forces sets everything up is almost to suggest that Shadow and Infinite are two characters with a rivalry brewing. Shadow begins by taking something Infinite holds dear, the Jackal Squad. Then Infinite takes away a trusted member of Team Dark, Omega. The two of them are just going tit for tat, setting up the stage for what looks to be a battle of wits. After this instance in Act 3 of episode Shadow doesn't even seem to have any more contact with Infinite, despite the fact it was he who pushed Infinite off the deep end when he was already so close to losing it. Unfortunately, we don't have a whole lot of an idea of what Shadow was doing in the time frame of 6 months when Sonic was captured, but Infinite was taking over the world with Eggman. I feel like during this time, since Sonic was for sure out of the picture, Shadow could have easily been in a position to step up once again and challenge Eggman and Infinite's authority. After all, the only reason Infinite concerns himself with Sonic is because Eggman insists he does. We only know that to be true because he doesn't even bother to finish him off later in the game after Sonic gets free in the first bout with Infinite. He even tells Eggman that Sonic no longer poses a threat, and for that reason he lets him live. Essentially, the same thing Shadow did to him earlier in episode Shadow. Earlier in the video, I said that Sonic Forces was a game about comebacks, a story about redemption, courage, bravery, and perseverance. These are a few things that Infinite has to go through after losing to Shadow and dealing with the very thought of being considered weak and that his squad is now gone. Shadow essentially created his own villain and he should have been the one to finish him off. Sonic Forces should have been a Shadow the Hedgehog game. What's going on, guys? Thank you all so much for sticking around to the end of the video. Now I want to hear from you. Should Sonic Forces have been a Shadow game, or should it have been the way it was, with Sonic being the main lead? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Anyway, I want to now move on to thank my awesome channel members. Thank you all so very much for supporting me and my channel. You guys are truly the best. I always find myself thanking the Lord for blessing me with amazing people like you guys. Thank you all so very much. If you want to become a member of my channel, there will be a link in the description down below, or you can just press the join button, whatever works. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. This is SONICSTA signing out. Have a super blessed day, y'all.
Why are you playing that trash?